evening and welcome to the special session school board meeting for the Granite Falls School District. Please, it's 6:01 actually, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening we have with us
Oh, sorry. Oh, I wouldn't interrupt you.
Director Ledoux, Director Kincaid, Director Carey, and I am Director Timothy, and Dr. Josh Mills is with us. So tonight we're here to interview the candidates for the District 1 School Board Director position. First is Tom Fitzgerald.
That's ready.
So you can see all that stuff at the end, like here's the process. Well, you probably want to say 20 questions, but 12 questions, 20 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah.
Shake hands. We do it. Okay. Welcome. How you doing? Good. Oh, Carl Karen, good to meet you. Pleasure.
Hi. Thanks for coming. Probably not, it's on wheels. Though when I did it, there wasn't a table, it's just a chair. Thank you for coming. Just quickly. So we have 12 questions to ask in 20 minutes. And then after the end of the 12 questions, I'll kind of explain the process for the remainder of the evening. So first, please tell us about your background and why you're interested in seeking a position on the school board. In your opinion, what qualities or skills make a person an effective board member?
Well, my college, my degree was natural science, where I was student teaching and I was going to teach while I was coaching in college. And both of my parents, well, I didn't pursue that direction. I went another direction, another way that financially was a little more advantageous at that time. Both of my parents are retired teachers. I was a scout leader for 12 years, a mentor with the school district, coach, president of the Little League. I still consider myself an educator. I like to work with kids. I have 3 kids that I've seen through K through 12 in the school district. I know the importance of having an educated society and community service. And I think someone that becomes involved and gets educated on what happens at the school board makes a good contributor to what decisions are made by finding out the importance of which decisions are being made and why, and wanting the best for the kids in the community makes an effective board member, as well as knowing how to communicate with people and how to work Robert's Rule of Order and how to be an effective communicator and work with people that are easy to work with, as well as people who are hard to work with. So, my opinion, a good effective board member would be somebody jack of all trades, mastery of many skills.
What do you consider to be the opportunities and challenges of the Grand Falls School District? And then second, what do you think is the most pressing issue or issues affecting the district, Tom?
I think we have, well, I think every school district is unique, but ours, it's very diverse. You have Boeing engineers in $1 million houses, and you have homeless kids that are struggling. And then you have also the apathy of some parents to deal with as the opportunity to turn things around. You put a kid in a place where they feel comfortable in their learning environment and feel supported. I think that they'll thrive, and the opportunity is to provide that environment for kids at all levels. Challenges are going to be financing, the way to get that done, the budget, the turning the apathy into support in people's thoughts and minds. I think the most pressing issue now for today would be the budget. I hope to learn more about what's going on with the school district by being a board member.
Having a public position puts a spotlight on you in this small town. It requires you to address many potential hot button items. Oftentimes, the board must deliberate over a controversial topic. Let's say there's a topic in which you disagree with the majority vote of the board. While shopping locally, you are confronted by an upset parent who thinks the same as you. How would you handle this situation?
Well, this is not uncommon to myself as a veteran of city council in year 15. We call it the IGA visit when somebody stops. How come you guys XYZ? And you have to be a man or woman, a person of many hats, and have appropriate behavior and responses to people in all environments, whether it's at a school board meeting or at the local supermarket or out of the ball field. I think it's okay to let someone know what your opinion was, or say, hey, let's talk about that when you and I can sit down in private or have a phone conversation where we're not surrounded by a bunch of people, and it's an easier thing, but a better place to talk. It's happened before, and I've been called 4-1 before because there's been an issue where I disagreed with what the council wanted to do, or I agreed with it, but I wanted something changed inside. And so I'm not shy about sharing my opinion on my vote on why I do it. However, in public, with the citizen who's upset, adding fuel to an angry fire is probably not the best way to deal with it. So I make a suggestion that we talk outside of public environment and sit down, have coffee, or have a phone conversation and ask them what they think, and then explain what I think and why, but also be willing to go, just because I wanted to, the other board members felt this, and this is why. And if you'd like to change that, the best avenue would be to be involved. Maybe you should, come and speak at a school board meeting, or email your school board members, or explain why you feel the way you do, and maybe you'll get a perspective on why they do, and let them know that the decision is probably made with the kid's best interest in mind.
Friends, parents, and staff will come to you with emotionally charged feelings, concerns, questions, etc. How will you handle controversial discussions regarding the school district in public, private? So it's kind of an extension of the previous one.
I know, yeah. Same kind of thing. I don't like to add fuel to a fire that's an angry person. It's easy to not easy for everyone. I'm able to put on that hat and say, I'm going to be using my best judgment and trying to diffuse the situation, but also share information with somebody to get them less emotionally charged into a place where they can make an effective change instead of just sparking or spewing ill will and hatred. Try to, not gonna cave, but to recognize their emotional feelings and why they feel that way, and then deflect and explain what the best thing would be to do if they want to make a change, instead of that they could probably get more flies with honey than with vinegar.
As a community member desiring to be on the board of directors, you're no doubt are aware of the community's social media pages that sometimes provide reliable information, but are often filled with speculation and misinformation. How will you balance the role of citizen, parent, and public official on social media platforms?
I have that the best response is to stay off social media. You always want to explain to someone when they have something that's misinformation, you kind of want to share with them. So sometimes I personally message someone on the side instead of posting it for everyone to see. But I also have like take the route to get it off of some of the social media platforms that will just stir the pot. I would probably invite them to ask to join the communicator group, where they can get effective communication of accurate information. But I guess to wrap it up, I have plenty of experience with being a public official, knowing what things don't get out of them, what things not to say. It's a very important tool to have to be able to go. And I think I've not that skill.
Tom, the district's mission statement states that we are dedicated to the individual development of each student. What does that mean to you, and how would you want the board of directors to focus on student achievement to ensure all students are learning?
I liked this when I read this question in the room over there and just thought, putting in place the app that's able to identify whether a student may have individual development needs that may be different from what's in the regular classroom. If everything as employees and staff that are able to recognize those needs, and in the regular classroom provide the environment that's going to be able to let each student develop and flourish. I want the board of directors just to continue to provide the environment that each student can have success in. And every student doesn't learn the same. So in some things that means special treatment or special education, but I think and especially in the last few months, I've realized how much we spend on identifying special needs of development on students that may not be regular classroom students. Continue to find ways to fund that environment.
Do you support the direction the Grand Falls School District is heading at this time? And if not, what things would you like to see addressed or changed if you were on the board?
What I like that I see right now is transparency. Things are out in the open and communication is improved tenfold over what it was 10, 15 years ago, as far as what was going on. There's more access to the information. There's the direction trying to provide more open, and I don't think you could have found a mission statement that anybody other than administration knew 15 years ago. I think that that's been created, and the environment that's going on now is this is what we want to do, and everything's made public and able to be accessed by the public, and I think that that's a good direction. So, being proactive in finding ways to fund the school district, I think is a good direction. I don't have a axe to grind to come in and say, I want to be in the school board because I don't like things and I want things changed. I'm actually feeling like, hey, this is a team I would like to be a part of. So I'm not looking to see a huge change. I was looking to keep a ball rolling with this sensible city-looking person to join the team, not change the team.
Yeah, in attempting to reach all stakeholders in the community, what equitable communication methods would you like the board or district to use to reach students, families, staff?
I kind of mentioned before that we have all school districts are diverse, but granted it's range of white collar to blue collar and the demographics and finances of our parents and school children is much very broad. And I think that you have to hit everything because the parent who doesn't look at emails or doesn't even have an email still exists. So having hits the social media to the reader board, flyers that go home, the classroom note things, social media posts, videos, calendars are kind of all tools that need to all be incorporated into communications to keep all parents informed as what's going on. I don't have any great new solution. I think continuing with the plan is good, but always keep the eyes open for new opportunities, ways to get more people involved in their kids' education.
So we have just 4 minutes remaining. Next is the question, how do you think we can demonstrate to the community the importance of passing the 2 levies without increasing division among the community?
I think the word I used earlier with transparency, when there's an explanation of exactly where those dollars go and why those dollars can only be spent in certain places. It's very similar to what we have in this municipality of the city, and the free money has to be spent here. This levy can only be spent here. This can only be spent on capital. You explain and let people know exactly where that money is going, and you demonstrate responsible spending. You earn their trust, and you don't have more division. You have more support. I think you got to get the word out there. The way you effectively communicate that is how you win them over to get support for the levies.
Thomas, nominated for the remainder of this term, would you file in May and run in November to seek public election for a full 4-year term after? Why or why not?
I have no reason not to want to stay and support the school district and do 4 years. I would like to feel out how we all work together if I'm selected and how much you all love me before I make that decision in May. The idea was to support and to run for the additional term after the filling in for Director Butler's term. But there are one factor maybe if there's movement in the 30th district and an opening comes in either Carolyn Esslick spot or Keith Wagner spot, there's a possibility that I would go to Olympia or in 2 years run for county council. But that's being honest. I think my plan would be to do it for 4 years, but if other opportunities came, I've been asked to do other directions and I might consider it.
We appreciate your responses to our questions. Are there things you would like to share that we may not have asked or you feel important for us to know when considering your candidates?
Would you still be okay with me doing the scorers table for basketball and volleyball and all the stats for football and all the stats for softball and baseball. On days when there's not school board meetings or commitments.
I think their school board members can participate. There's some sort of rule on how much we can be paid in a year. I don't have no idea how much you're being paid. I would love to know. Okay. But as long as it doesn't break the rules, I don't think that there's any issue with that. I mean, I'm not talking for the board. I'm just talking, yeah. I know Carly, she not student teach, but substitutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have said.
Well, it's okay.
It's a good niche that I have for being able to support the company.
Yeah.
Provide that service. I'd like to contribute in that.
Yeah. And then any other questions that you have for us?
I know that you're having a discussion after the last candidates interviewed. Will you, after you make the decision, tonight, will the notification be next tonight?
Well, in fact, that's what I was just going to mention. So after all the candidates are interviewed, we'll have an executive session where we'll discuss the candidates, our notes individually, but we will not debate. But our debate or our discussion and our vote will be in public. You're welcome to stay for that, or you can log in online to watch the remainder. But I'll be calling all the candidates this evening. After, so yeah, thank you very much, Tom, for coming and for being first tonight.
I was gonna say, shake my hand before you leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Sorry, I
Sir.
tried to keep the.
I see your granite shirt under that shirt.
Yeah, no, rep.
That's why I got the orange crowd.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I got it.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom, I thought it was just because it was a cool color.
Oh, it is.
My kids make fun of me because I buy orange stuff.
Hey.
I like orange. Oh, I didn't know it.
You wanna invite Zach in?
Bill,
Bill
Bill's moving
moved
into.
up.
Oh,
625 is Bill. With this, yep. Have it. Oh, yeah, I guess we have two, like, put this together again.
Here.
we're ready.
We are.
Yeah.
Right.
Bill? Major, Peter. Hey, Bill.
I will. I get to see it.
Bill, good to see you again.
Bill, thank you for coming and thanks for being willing to move the time slot up to 6:25. We appreciate that. So just really quick, the interview process is 12 questions in 20 minutes. And then I'll give just a quick wrap up at the end about how we'll communicate or how the process goes after the interview for all the candidates tonight. So each of us will be taking one question at a time. So first, please tell us about your background and why you're interested in seeking a position on the school board. And in your opinion, what qualities and skills make a person an effective board member?
That's a big question. Okay, so a little bit about me is I moved to Granite Falls 41 years ago to work. I came from the city of Tacoma, from a military family, and worked in the farming industry up here until 1997. Prior to that, 1991, I started volunteering at the fire department and worked my way into a full-time position. Have been there 26 years and am currently the assistant chief of operations here in Granite. I have 4 children raised here in Granite. I actually, my oldest daughter was born in Tacoma 2 months before her mother moved here. But I had come up early to work. The economy in 1980 was pretty rough. So I was moving anywhere I could to find a job, found a home here in the community and started my family here and stayed, became a part of the community. I've been working again with the fire department for 32 years, and I have kind of a unique understanding of how boards work. I work for an elected board of officials. Currently, we have 5 board members, and I'll add that we just got a 6th because of the annexation of Roe Valley into the fire district. But that position will go away as elections come up. And we'll go back down to 5. And what I look for as far as what I look for in our commissioners is to, be curious, understand what the mission of our department is. And so I'm going to say for the school board or any other group, think management of a public agency, make sure that I stay open and or you as a board member stay open to all opinions and all subjects, and really allow yourself to absorb information and not come in with a set opinion about specific topics. And I'll say that over the years, we've been through dozens of elected officials, and we've had a very good, solid working relationship with all of them. So.
Thanks.
So what do you consider to be the opportunities and challenges of the Grand Falls School District? And then what do you think is the most pressing issue or issues affecting the district?
Well, I'll start with what I think is the most pressing issue for any government agency right now is funding, and making sure that we're securing funding. Right now, our citizens are, and especially our property owners, where we get the majority of our tax revenue, are pressed. With the raising evaluations in the area over the last 4 or 5 years, the home real estate boom shot everybody's taxes up pretty high. So making sure that we're educating the public and getting them on board to support our programs, our institutions is incredibly challenging. But it is, again, probably the most important issue. As far as opportunities, we as a community are a bedroom community that's growing rapidly. And our opportunities are making sure that we're bringing people in and showing them what we do in our small community, how we support them, and get them on the board to support us. And that as long as we're out communicating openly to the public, I think that we can take that opportunity to grow, expand, try to keep up with the times.
Having a public position puts a spotlight on you in a small town. It requires you to address many potential hot button items. Oftentimes, the board must deliberate over a controversial topic. Let's say there's a topic in which you disagree with the majority vote of the board. While shopping locally, you're confronted by an upset parent who thinks the same as you. How would you handle the situation?
First, as an elected official, and I'll relate that to my parent. I am confronted by citizens often for issues regarding the service that we provide. And the way I deal with that is I listen. I listen to them, I acknowledge what they say, and I try to, show an understanding, taking that time to actually listen and give them feedback, acknowledge them. But as far as having a discussion, especially if as a board, we've made a decision to move any direction, I would hold to that board decision. I don't use my personal, I wouldn't use the public to, you know, air my personal grievances. And again, in my job, I have to do that. I have a board of commissioners, and my board of commissioners gives me direction, and I have to follow that direction. It is the job and the duty of my position, and it has been for, you know, again, the 32 years that I've been there. And there are times where I completely disagree with him. I also work, my boss, Chief Haverfield, and I are completely different people. And I'll be open to say that he's very conservative in his personal life, and I'm pretty liberal in my personal life. And every day, he and I have to work through issues. When we have a discussion, we do it behind closed doors. I'll bring up ideas, or he'll have ideas that he gives to me. We'll run through our positions, but at the end of the meeting, we agree to whatever he says, and I go out and support that position, never to undermine.
Somewhat of a continuation. So friends, parents, as well as staff will come to you with emotionally charged feelings, concerns, questions, etc. How will you handle controversial discussions regarding the school district in public and private?
Well, I roll that back into a question I answered earlier. Even with family, friends, coworkers, I try to be open and listen. I try to listen their feedback. If there's something that's different that a person is presenting to me that is outside of what the board is doing, what I would want to do, what I do is I would go back and seek further information. Definitely share the concerns with this group, and then if that has something to do with changing the direction of the board, that's awesome. But if not, you know, at the end of the day, when this group makes a decision, we have support. It is not okay for a person or a board member to be a fringe element and undermining the direction of the entire school district, really.
As a community member desiring to be on the board of directors, you are no doubt aware of community social media pages that sometimes provide reliable information, but are often filled with speculation or misinformation. How will you balance the role of citizen, parent, and public official on social media platforms?
So first, I very rarely use any social media platforms, but I do have, and I am a member of different Facebook groups, and I try to limit that. I put my toe in the waters of Granite Falls community groups, and realistically, it was kind of overwhelmed with negative postings, and so I pulled away from that. So I guess if you really want to look at this in how I live my day-to-day life, I have a Facebook site. It doesn't use my name, and I post specifically to my interests, but not my work or anything that has to do with this community. And I don't seek out social media advice. Essentially, I don't look for stories out there because they can be unreliable. And I think that if I were to choose how the school district were to communicate outside using social media, I would support having a platform where we would supply information to the public, but only allow for private comment back. So not allowing for a open public forum. And I know people will say there's a freedom of speech issue there, but realistically, if we allow for people to comment privately to the board and not just put it out in public for debate, I think it would you know, be better for the school district, school board.
So the district's mission statement states that we are dedicated to the individual development of each student. What does that mean to you? And how would you want the board of directors to focus on student achievement to ensure all students are learning?
So I think what it means to me is being able to allow our teachers, instructors to teach in a way that all students can be or have the opportunity to learn, but also to be able to evaluate where students need individual attention, allow for the gifted students to accelerate and give opportunities there, but also not be behind students that have challenges. Making sure that our teachers are personally involved with their students. And there's an other end of that is allowing our teachers to have control of their classrooms, being able to teach with some kind of security that would be board support structures in the classroom that doesn't allow for interruptions, because every student has the right to learn without all of our teacher focus being on taking care of students that act out or at the different energy level, I guess is the best way to say it. So I think that's where the individual student is to be able to give them opportunity. But as far as the board goes, is supporting the teachers and making sure that they have the opportunity to teach and not create rules that restrict the teaching staff, the administrative staff of the schools from keeping control of the students.
Do you support the direction the Granite Falls School District is heading at this time? And if not, what things would you like to see addressed or changed if you were on the board?
I actually do. I have my youngest child is a senior. She'll be graduating this year. Two of my kids now, my first two children, and it was a sign of the times, 1988 and 1990. Were where my first two kids entered the school system. And at that time, they came out of private preschool and kindergarten. And when they went in first grade, we were told as parents that we had to hold them back. And my daughter finished her first grade curriculum in a month. And the teacher came to us and said, we can't give her any more because the school district wouldn't allow it. So I took those two kids, they went through the Marysville School District. My third and fourth child from birth to graduation have been in Granite Falls School. And I've seen there was a wholesale change in how they were treated. Both of them went through Mountain Way Elementary School, K through 5, and were able to accelerate and work at a pace that was supported by the school. And then over at the Granite Middle School, they were absolutely supported. My youngest got a little bit behind in math, and one of the best stories I have is the principal took her into his office and said, hey, I'm going to coach a little bit on math. And a week later, she was back up to par and accelerated, and she's doing great. What kind of, I think, areas that she needed more is actually her extracurricular activities. So she's we have good structure in our basic fundamental math, reading, science. She's been in the band and marching band. Unfortunately, COVID came in and affected all of that. But we've had some struggles making sure that those programs have been supported and flourish. We have I think one of the top band teachers in the region. When I see what he's done with this small band, if you look at what he just this year, what he took the sixth graders and from just starting to learn and they're playing songs at the end of the year, it blows me away. But there's all the sports, the extracurricular activities that get the children excited to be at school. And that's what, and I'm using personal experience, Elizabeth, my youngest, being able to be in drama, being able to be in band, being able to be, she was color guard, those activities made her excited to go to school, made her excited to do well. She wasn't doing well, she wasn't keeping grade, she wouldn't get to participate. Having more support in those areas, I think is.
So I just want to say we just have 3 minutes remaining.
Okay, I apologize for talking.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'm just giving a time check.
Okay, so Bill, in attempting to reach all stakeholders in the community, what equitable communication methods would you like the board or the district to use to reach students, families, staff, and residents?
Well, so going back a little bit to what we talked about as social media platforms, I think it's important for the districts to be even more open than they are. Running with Facebook, making sure that we're friending people in the community, or other social media platforms that we get messages out. Again, I don't support having an open platform so people to use that for reasons that we need control. We need to be able to project our message and then allow for private messaging back to the board, but also having each school have some sort of social media connection with the families. Also newsletters, real important to get flyers out. It's one of the things that we do in the fire department is we put a biannual newsletter out to the community. It's money. We understand that, but we also, as arbiters of quite a bit of the taxpayers' money, we want to make sure they understand what we're doing. And I think that's important to be able to do that. And then email is another one where if we can get buy-in from parents to give us their to make sure that we're sending messages that are clear and concise about what the school is doing for their kids and what we're doing for their money, with their money. It's real important. And also on the kind of flip of that is to let the parents, the taxpayer know where we are financially and then where our properties are. So, we have our high school is beautiful. I don't know if anybody in the school, I don't know for as a parent, if we are at capacity, if we're over capacity or if we're under capacity, how's that? I know that the elementary schools are well over capacity. And that's information that should go out. It's like, hey, we're doing the best we can with what we have, but looking at the future, we need to prepare because our district is growing, our student count is growing, and we want to let you know that we're doing everything we can to piece this together, keep it functional.
We just have 1 minute left, so do we ask the last, how do we do that?
Keep going. I mean, we
Okay.
could, technically we could go till 6:50, I guess, but yeah.
Okay, so we have 1 minute and then I'll ask this question and then I'll explain how the remainder of this is going to. How do you think we can demonstrate to the community the importance of passing 2 levies without increasing division among the community?
Right. I guess unfortunately, I started answering that already in the last statement. It is just making sure that we keep informed about where we are, that the age of the structures, the condition, kind of the maintenance costs. When I look at replacing a fire engine or ambulance, one of the things that is key to that is I'll present to the board that my annual maintenance costs on this specific piece of apparatus is going up exponentially, whatever that number might be, and the value of that. If I surplused out this piece of equipment, what would it do? And then what would it do if we had a failure? So, you know, if something were to happen where, you know, unfortunate that we have a water line break or you know, a fire in one of the schools, you know, what would that cost? What would that look like to put it back together? What are the safety systems in the schools and what upgrades do we need? And then also with our you know, the advance in tech and media, are we keeping up? You know, the middle school has the STEM program, and it's an amazing build, but I think it's about 4 years old now, and you know, already fallen behind. The high school needs to be upgraded with better computers, better connected systems, and we need to start those things in the elementary school. So we need upgraded facilities. So having that information out there, I think, and again, going back to the flyers or, you know, putting out postings, a newsletter that says, this is where we are, this is what we have, this is how it's functioning, this is how we're filling it, and this is what it's costing us to maintain it. And if we can move forward to a bigger facility or a better facility, this is what we can see the vision of the district.
It's really only one more.
Yeah,
These
so-
are,
I think we'll just ask one more question.
let me read it real quick.
Yeah, if you'll,
If nominated for the remainder of this term, would you file in May and run in November to seek public election for a full 4-year term after why or why not?
I will. That's a simple one. I wouldn't have put my letter in if I wasn't intending on staying here and working. So if I am selected tonight, I will definitely put it in my intent to run.
thank you,
You
Bill.
want to run you through what's going to happen?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Didn't know. I thought you were excusing him. Sorry. Sorry.
I was just saying, thank you.
I'll shut up.
Thanks for
I
coming.
apologize.
So just for your information there's 2 additional candidates to interview tonight. You're welcome to stay. It's a public meeting, or you can log in online or YouTube, or either way, I'll be calling all the candidates tonight. After all the interviews are complete, we'll have an executive session to discuss the candidates, you know, the notes that we've made. We'll have any other conversation in public, and there'll be a public vote, and then I'll be calling each candidate tonight just to let you know
All right.
the board's decision. So thank you very much, Bill. Thanks for coming.
Time.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
And
Well, it's the first meeting for the new, okay.
Okay, so now.
No, I scheduled 5 minutes. You guys ready for me to read?
Yes,
the next one?
yes.
Okay.
Just trying to do that. I do right now.
Hi, Peter. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So to begin, I'll just let you know that we have 12 questions and scheduled for 20 minutes. And then at the end of the questions, I'll go ahead and explain how we'll make the decision tonight, and you'll be notified.
Okay.
So first, please tell us about your background and why you're interested in seeking a position on the school board. In your opinion, what qualities and skills make a person an effective board member?
Well, I was definitely not born in the state of Washington. I was born in the state of South Dakota in a very small town on the southern end of the state. So I definitely understand small town dynamics very, very well. Like most small town kids, when I turned 18, I ran for the hills. Signed the contract from the Marine Corps when I was away on a bird, San Diego. I did 8 years in the Marines, discharged honorably. I got out, got back to civilian life, went to Utah, got my CDL, got a chance to actually see how much civilian life had changed since I'd been gone. And believe me, it had changed quite a bit. So I was married once for 15 years. I am now engaged to my fiance. In total, we have 4 children, 3 of which are inside your guys' school system, 1 in each school, except for the one that is right over here. And then our 4th child, she spends time between her father and my fiance. So I understand quite literally the difference between Marysville School District and Graniteville. Yeah. Good Lord, Granite Falls School District, sorry. As far as being a part of a board, I think it takes somebody who can compromise, who can communicate, who can understand that not every subject is going to agree with everybody. And it needs to be an understood thing that you have to be willing to talk to somebody. You cannot make a lot of this decision on your own. It's a board. You're meant to communicate, deliberate, discuss, debate if you need to. So in my eyes, that's what makes a good board member.
Thank you.
Zach, what do you consider to be the opportunities and challenges of the Grand Falls School District? And then what do you think is the most pressing issue or issues affecting the district?
A lot of the opportunities at Granite Falls, you guys are a small town. You have small class sizes. Anywhere outside of here, the mass exodus of people from the southern state of Washington is coming. The class sizes are massive. Boys went to Everett School District for over a year, and I can tell you, they never once received the attention they receive from your guys' teachers now. It was not nearly as one-on-one as I wanted that to be. So for anybody coming here, it's the one-on-one attention the students receive, and it helps out immensely. Pressing issue is growth. We see it coming. It was a good example. You can see all the housing developments going up. We already know what's coming. There's gonna be a mass flood of people who are coming here, and that's going to be a big, big issue for the school district. I see coming down in those next 2 years.
Having a public position puts a spotlight on you in this small town. It requires you to address many potential hot button items. Oftentimes, the board must deliberate over a controversial topic. Let's say there's a topic in which you disagree with the majority vote of the board. While shopping locally, you are confronted by an upset parent who thinks the same as you. How would you handle this situation?
Well, it depends on how they approach me for one. They may agree with what my decision was on the board. But outside of the board, what we are allowed to discuss is what we are allowed to discuss, nothing more than that. And they will never go beyond that. You're on a board for a reason. You're not going to be on a board and go outside the board and discuss things they're not privy to know. So yes, you may have sided with me, and I understand your opinion, but that's as far as I'm willing to go with it. I was put in that position for a reason and a reason alone, and I'm not going to sit here and open up about things you do not need to know about. So.
Okay, similar vein here, Zach. Friends, parents, as well as staff will come to you with emotionally charged feelings, concerns, and questions. So how will you handle controversial discussions regarding the school district in public, in private, et cetera?
Well, if it's in public, they're going to come to me being emotionally charged. The number one step is to diffuse the situation. De-escalate in a sensitive state of mind, if you will. I'm not going to have a yelling match with the parent in public. I'm not going to get into a fist fight or argument with them over decisions that was made inside this room. Will I attempt to talk to them and calm them down? Yes. Will I divulge any information they don't need to know about? Absolutely not. I'm not going to get fight back in an argument with somebody who's emotionally charged because one, they're not in the right state of mind to be making an argument. Your emotions take over. If you say things you don't mean or do mean, it can cause major problems. So number one, diffuse the situation before you even start talking about anything like that.
As a community member desiring to be on the board of directors, you're no doubt aware of the community social media pages that sometimes provide reliable information, but are often filled with speculation or misinformation. How will you balance the role of citizen, parent, and public official on social media platforms?
Social media is the crutch of society. If you know, it is filled with everything you can imagine of so-and-so did this, and you can see it on Granite Falls' pages. Oh Lord, there's some stuff, I tell you what. Number one, I am a part of those pages, but number one, I don't take part of it. I use it for, I'm not a big social media guy, and I'm assuming some of you may have popped around my Facebook page. I do apologize. I am very close with my brother and inside the military. There's a lot of talking back and forth because we were grown men and that's what we do. It is set to private for a reason, and nobody comes on there unless they have my approval. It has to be authenticated first. But no, I don't take part of those pages. It's just filled with people looking for an argument.
Zach, the district's mission statement states that we're dedicated to the individual development of each student. What does that mean to you? And how would you want the board of directors to focus on student achievement to ensure all students are learning?
One-on-one, it is very, very prevalent in your guys' schools. I've seen it firsthand in Mountain View. My youngest, he is special needs, and we're on a 1-year waiting list to see what exactly is going on because we just don't know. I have seen your teachers literally take time out of their day to help him, and not just him. There are several kids, they see something and they go forth and they take care of it. And that starts from the board. You guys aren't investing in individual students, they wouldn't do it. You can see that in every school district. And I use them as an example, and I could use Utah, but it's not even the same area. Okay? So when I see in Everett, you'll see kids who have special needs, who have been diagnosed, and I've seen them being left in a corner while teachers are on them. I don't see that here. My oldest goes to Granite Falls High School. He's even told me teachers are taking time out of their day and go, hey, I know you're new here. You know, what can we do to help you adjust? How can we help you adjust? You don't see that very often. And it had to start from somewhere. So it clearly came from you guys. I had to have the board. So
It was on my.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just my turn. Do you support the direction of the Granite Falls School District? Or do you support the direction the Granite Falls School District is heading at this time? If not, what things would you like to see addressed or changed if you were on the board?
yes, I support the way you guys are going. The only recommendation I would make is control the growth. Because I have seen schools get overwhelmed because parents work in Bellevue, and we all know what's going on in Bellevue with the school closures, and I am absolutely disappointed in that fact because I know a lot of good friends of mine are affected by that. Now, I'm not saying turn away children who are coming to this area, who are living in this area, obviously we go to school. But we really need to manage these class sizes, because if we don't, and we don't have the teachers to back these kids, we lose our ability to have that one-on-one, that direct investment and success in these children.
Okay. So in attempting to reach all stakeholders in the community, what equitable communication methods would you like the board or district to use to reach student, families, staff, and residents?
I can tell you right now, my email gets hit by 6 emails a day from Granite Falls High School, from everybody else. So I mean, the emails are good. I would like to see maybe a little bit more paper communication, letters, flyers, going home with the kids. I know that's a little bit to ask of the board to do, but not everybody's got access to internet. We all know that sitting here. I mean, we're out towards the mountains. Some people choose to live off grid, and believe me, some days I wish I was one of them. But regardless of that fact, you know, we have to find a way to reach them, whether it's by paper, by flyer, even get on the radio, using 97.3 or any other radio station that we get out here. Could help immensely. You never know unless you try.
So how do you think we can demonstrate to the community the importance of passing the two levies without increasing division among the community?
That question I spent the most time on. So I know it says a levy is not another tax. The reality is you're taking money from people to put back in the school system to grow programs. A lot of people will view that as a tax. I understand that. I get it. We're all tired of being taxed. We understand that. My idea on that is literally, as we budget in our own households, do the same thing. Be as clear where the dollars are going as possible. And I know that can be a pain because we don't honestly know where they would go right out the gate. But being clear to the point where the people see it's not going to somebody's pocketbook for a bonus. It's literally going to the football program, the band, wherever it needs to go. Gives people a better understanding of going, well, my kid's in band and he's been complaining the instruments aren't the greatest and they're bent up and they're beat up. Now I see $100,000 is going to that program. Gonna get him new instruments, gonna get him new things he needs to succeed. You know, just showing people where it's going is gonna go a lot farther than saying $3 million are going here in these different areas. And I know it's a lot to ask, but that would literally go 100 yards further than what you are right now.
Zach, if nominated for the remainder of this term, would you file in May and run in November to seek public election for a full 4-year term after? And why or why not?
Yes, because I don't believe they do things halfway. I didn't come out here and put my letter of interest in just to serve for a couple months. My kids are in the school district. I see how much they love it. I see the next generation coming up. I don't, as much as I know it's going to change in certain ways, I'd rather do something about it to keep it the way it is in a sense, not necessarily as it is now, but to grow with the times, to keep that one-on-one, that direct investment in the success of these children. I don't believe in doing things halfway, especially when it comes to this.
We appreciate your responses to our questions. Are there things you would like to share that we may not have asked or you feel are important for us to know when considering your candidacy?
Not off the top of my head, no. Pretty straightforward thing.
Any other questions just in general that you have for the board? No, okay.
Well, thank you for coming. So just to understand how the rest of the night will go, we have 4 candidates to interview, so we have another after you.
Yeah.
Then we'll go into an executive session to discuss the candidates. We'll come out of executive session to have a vote. You can either stay, you can log in on YouTube and watch the remainder, or either way, I'll be calling all 4 candidates tonight with the board's decision.
May I ask which phone number you have? Because I have 2 phones, one, because I'm an operations manager. So I am on call 24/7, 7 days a week. I'm not sure if I gave you the 425 number or the 801 number.
Why don't you write it down? Because we're being recorded right now in this public, so I don't want you to put your phone number out there.
I see the 425 one on your
That would be the
letter.
one to reach. Okay.
Okay, yep.
On the letter.
So that's the number I'll call you at night.
I can log in on YouTube and watch at the same time.
It's on right now.
Yeah, it's on right now.
My boys are probably watching this.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you for coming.
So good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I forgot that you're coming back this way. As I was saying. Oh, so if you back up a minute, Keith's restroom.
That was me.
That's me.
Is that you? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
Oh, would you pass that?
I'm not gonna
down?
knock you down this time.
This one?
Yeah. Okay.
I did.
I forgot to bother you.
I gotta get forceful with those handshakes, right? Yeah. Get right in there quickly.
Are we still there?
I think so.
Wow.
Good.
Pardon, nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Sorry, Tina.
Tina. I do. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Josh.
Thank you for coming this evening. Just to start off, the interview is 12 questions in the next 20 minutes. And then at the end of the questions, I'll give you kind of a quick wrap up of how the deliberation and decision will be made. So I'll start us off. Please tell us about your background and why you're interested in seeking a position on the school board. And in your opinion, what qualities and skills make a person an effective school board member?
I spent my life in service. Done that for many years. Some time ago, I was at an Eagle Scout ceremony, and they called the Eagle Scouts up, and I stood up, and one of your teachers leaned over to my beloved and said, "I didn't know Jude was a school who was an Eagle Scout," and and my beloved leaned back and said, "Are you surprised?" I believe in service. I believe that we need to commit and give back to the community. I have several degrees in college level, master's level, and have been very successful educationally. And I believe in the value of an education and want to support that in the young people in our community. I could go on, but in a nutshell, that's what I'm about.
Jude, what do you consider to be the opportunities and challenges of the Granite Falls School District? And what do you think is the most pressing issue or issues affecting the district?
Several of the questions could kind of center around being aware of social media. I will admit I don't do a lot of social media. I'm not fond of it. It's a font of usually questionable information. So the underlying, what I really am about is trying to listen, trying to learn, and trying to help people in that learning process. I don't think that you can learn in a vacuum, and so trying to get that information and help people to make good decisions. And I want to help our young people in that process. What are the issues? What are the concerns or challenges? I want to make sure that our young people have access to good information, good, well-founded educational resources, and that they know they have that support in our community.
Having a public position puts a spotlight on you in this small town. It requires you to address many potential hot button items. Oftentimes, the board must deliberate over controversial topics. Let's say there's a topic in which you disagree with the majority vote of the board. And while you're shopping locally, you're confronted by an upset parent who thinks the same as you. How will you handle this situation?
Again, I believe in listening, I think. And years ago, a friend taught me that is attending to the other person in a way that you're open to being changed and helping the other to change. And it's dialogue. In order to do that, I need to listen, but at the same time, recognizing that I can't tell them, I can't say that I'm at odds with the school board. I think that would be irresponsible. But I want to listen. I want to hear their concerns. So I would engage in wanting to hear those concerns, and then to the degree that I could, I would try to bring those to the school board or the appropriate for the administration.
On a similar line here, friends, parents, as well as staff will come to you with emotionally charged feelings, concerns, questions, etc. How will you handle controversial discussions regarding the school district in public as well as private?
I don't engage in controversy. I don't do a lot of controversy. I try to bring the information, the accurate information to the people, and I would, as a school board member, I would be listening, wanting to get the information that they have to share. What are their concerns? And then to the degree that if I'm able to try to at least address those concerns and let them know, I appreciate that you're sharing this with me. I will do what I can to share your concerns with the people that need to know about that.
As a community member desiring to be on the board of directors, you no doubt are aware of the community's social media pages that sometimes provide reliable information, but are often filled with speculation or misinformation. How will you balance the role of citizen, parent, and the public official on social media platforms?
I don't want to use social media. But occasionally I will browse, but rarely comment. And you probably haven't seen much of the presence of that.
Well, I'm getting there. Jude, the district's mission statements states that we are dedicated to the individual development of each student. What does that mean to you? And how would you want the board of directors to focus on student achievement to ensure all students are learning?
I love this question and I hate this question. It's simultaneously vast and minute. Fundamentally, I think each person, each student is a manifestation of the good, and they are intrinsically good. Every person is intrinsically good and has value, and that we as community members, and as if you choose me to be on the board members as participants in the process of education, that part of what we would be about is nurturing the ability for each and every person in our community, each and every person in child in our care, to really manifest the full goodness that is embodied in them. And that means that every person is true, essential, and we should be doing everything that we can for them to flourish.
Do you support the direction the Granite Falls School District is heading at this time? And if not, what things would you like to see addressed or changed if you were on the board?
I think the school district is doing good things. I don't have that. I struggled with deciding to apply for this position, mainly because I don't have a big agenda. I'm here to serve, and at the time I had the impression that there aren't many people applying for this and stepping forward, and so I thought there was a need, and I thought I was actually surprised that I was included in the area, because I thought the street was the Granite Avenue was the dividing line. I was surprised that I was included, and I thought, oh, I can step up and help out.
Okay, so in attempting to reach all stakeholders in the community, what equitable communication methods would you like the board or the district to use to reach students, families, staff, and residents?
Every means possible. There are many people in this community that don't have high-speed internet access, so they're still relying on things like even emails, and, you know, the Facebook communication or releases that go in channels that rely on high-speed internet don't work all the time. There are pockets where even some text message doesn't go through. And so communicating print form, electronic, whatever we have, we should be using all of them. And we should also be attentive to the diverse languages of the community. There are many people that unfortunately English is not their primary language. We need to be attentive to that.
How do you think you can demonstrate to the community the importance of passing the 2 levies without increasing division among the community?
Transparency. The community will step up when they see that there is a need, and to have accurate information presented to them in a timely, clear fashion. That I realize that needs to be handled in carefully, because the school cannot, you can't be promoting the position on the levy on 2 grounds. The role would be to share objective information. But sharing objective information with transparency, people will make good decisions.
If nominated for the remainder of this term, would you file in May and run in November to seek public election for a full 4-year term after? Why or why not?
I think in part, I look at this as a little bit of an extended interview. You don't know what you're getting in me. I don't know what I'm getting in you. I would be open to that possibility, but I can't promise. I don't know what happens behind closed doors in this group. But I would commit to, I'm open to that, and I would commit to giving that a serious consideration.
We appreciate your responses to our questions. Are there things you'd like to share that we may have not asked, or you feel important for us to know when considering your?
Just kind of tongue in cheek, one of the things is, I don't know that you're aware that the clock in the staff room where I was waiting is an hour off. Someone might want to adjust that just in case teachers aren't aware that they need to make the adjustment when they get to the classroom. I would be interested in hearing from you how you see the school district meeting the needs of each student.
Sir. Sorry, I wasn't looking at you.
Yeah.
You were looking at me.
Go ahead and start. That is the essence of this job. So
Yeah, that's a big one. I think that we do the best with the resources that we have, but even saying those words, I know wholeheartedly that there's areas that we aren't meeting we aren't fully realizing really the primary responsibility to meet needs where they're at and to grow kids into meeting their full potential. To realize that inherent good and all, and to take them to a place where they can, be whatever that be is. It's challenging for a number of reasons. I could talk to you for an hour to do that in a small school district. I think we do an okay job at that, but there's definitely room to grow. There's areas that we need to do better in, for sure. Sorry if I took too much time.
No. I think that we are a work in progress, but I think literally every school in the entire country is a work in progress, because children and their needs are changing constantly. And I started my educational journey a year and a half ago. I'm becoming a teacher myself. And even in that time, I've seen the needs of children change, especially with what we just came out of with all the COVID stuff. So I think every district, every school is learning and growing, and we're trying to meet them. And like I said, I think we're a work in progress, and we're trying to figure out, you know, how to best serve them. I think everybody is, so.
Okay, time to think. Transparency is a two-way street. We can be as transparent as possible, but if we don't hear the voice of the community, we try to put our voice out there as much as possible. We are open, our emails are there. I'm always willing to meet for coffee, anything like that. Transparency is a two-way street. So the best way to make sure each individual student is getting the attention they need is to hear, not just from the people, not just from the squeaky wheels. We need to hear from everybody about their thoughts, their opinions, because our whole job is we are supposed to only be the conduit, the pipeline between the community and the school district. And we're only throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks if we don't have that good communication. So
it's hard to be last because, you know, the topics have been chosen, but I've been on the school board for 4.5-ish years now. And we've spent a lot of time working toward the transparency and the communication with the community members and with parents and with students. We've spent a significant amount of time trying to get additional funding for our district to try to meet the needs in that way. And Carl is famous for saying, we're Granite, we do more with less. And I think we spent a lot of time doing that. We have some growth in academics and we're really focusing on that. We've put the challenge out to every administrator and every person coming to the board to give us presentations, to have real data-driven discussions so that we can make good decisions on behalf of our students the best way that we know possible. Being on the board is a privilege. It's an honor. It's sometimes tiring. You know, I think every single one of us does this because we care. And that I think is the most important kind of attribute, is to really be willing to dig in because you care. I hope I answered that question.
I'm curious, how does the school district foster, and increasingly we're talking a lot in the world about equity, diversity, and inclusion. How does the district foster equity, diversity, and inclusion within the students and within the faculty and just in the community at large?
I would actually almost want to defer to Dr. M on that, because we get brought the ideas and we love them, shape, whatever, but I think that would be great.
I think at, you know, just some basic levels with, let's say, curriculum adoption, that is always a key focus. That's always the lens that those review committees members have. And those aren't just internal conversations. We always invite external stakeholders to be part of those conversations. The other is, I think we're in our perhaps second or third year with our district level equity committee. And we have not been as active as we needed to be this year, but its goal is certainly to look at our discipline, to look at our instruction, to look at our communication so that it is inclusive. And then, you know, as a board, the board is regularly adopting new policy that is recommended by the Washington State School Directors Association. And I think every time a new policy comes to the board, they also make sure that lens of equity and diversity and inclusion are included as we discuss and eventually adopt.
I haven't looked at the time. I don't know.
Well, in fact, now that we say that, we have 4 minutes. So do you have any additional questions? I guess actually technically, Peter, you're supposed to
That's
ask.
fine.
All right,
Any additional questions that you have?
there you go. You got it.
That's my piece.
I've been on the other side. I will- Keep track of who's trying to do this part. So. Process wise, I understand that you're conducting these interviews and then you're going to go into executive session and then.
Mhm. Yep.
Possibly this evening or.
In fact, yeah, so you're the final interview. So after the 4 interviews are complete, we'll have an executive session to discuss the interviewees. And then we will we'll come out of executive session and have a public vote. You can stay and wait for us to come out of executive session. You can log in on YouTube. I certainly will. I'll be calling each of the candidates tonight to let them know the board's decision. And
Can I just add one
Yeah.
thing?
Mhm.
And in that exec session, the purpose of that is to discuss the qualifications. For each candidate, we won't be coming to consensus, and then the public meetings all for show. It's really discuss those qualifications, and then all of the deliberation will happen, in the public meeting. So we'll set a time that we'll come back to exec. From exec, we may extend it or something like that, and then immediately go into open public meeting, and that's where you can sit in or do YouTube or any of that stuff. Yeah. But everybody will get a call.
Yep. Everybody will get a call from me this evening.
Well, and yeah, to say, Director Carey kind of addressed it, but just so that it's very clear to everybody online and then also that's here, executive session, right, we'll set 30 minutes to an hour probably, and then there is the potential to extend it as well, just so everybody has an idea of timing. It's not 5 minutes. It's we want to make sure that we're discussing appropriately, and so there is the potential for extension. I went through the same process and I think it was extended 2 or 3 times. So just a fair warning.
Yeah.
So
I've made lots of hiring decisions, I understand.
yeah.
One, if I may, one last question.
Sure.
What sort of training, I've never occupied this kind of a board. I've been on different community service boards. But what sort of training is
You want me to talk about it?
for this?
Yeah, great question, Jude. So one of the things that we have in board policy is that the new board member is really kind of taken under the wing of the chair, Director Veach, to ensure that you understand kind of how packets go out and that information. But then outside of that, there's a number of great opportunities through WASDA, kind of our Washington State School Director Association. They have very specific programming, onboarding and stuff like that to try to get you up to speed as quickly as possible. And they offer some in-person virtual meetings, stuff like that. I'm not sure where the timing of that falls in the timing of May and November and all of that stuff. But then also one thing that I think has worked really well is that outside of that meeting kind of with the superintendent to really kind of talk about, how he as the secretary of the board, how that works and all of that stuff. With those two combined with WASDA, it does give you a lot of information, but then obviously your colleagues on the board too, individually, we can't more than 3 all talk and help and say, here's how I do that. Here's how we review board packets and stuff like that. You guys got anything? Sorry.
There's an annual training each November. It goes between Spokane and Bellevue every other year, right? And it's 3 days. Is that right? 2.5-ish days of a conference to get some of those trainings. And there are a couple of required trainings, Open Public Meetings Act, and I want to say it's a diversity and inclusion.
That's right. There's an equity.
Yeah, equity and inclusion required training as well. So,
You get like a boot camp. They help boot camp.
yeah.
So sit through that and you learn a lot.
Mhm. All right, well, we thank you for coming today, and I will be giving each person a call later this evening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for coming in.
How long are you going?
Okay. All right, so now we will have an executive session to evaluate the District 2 candidates for 1 hour.
Want to say that open up time, by the way.
So we'll reopen at 8:36. All right, we are going to continue the executive session for another 30 minutes.
Come out.
So we will come out at 16, is that right?
9:06.
9:06,
9:07 now.
Oh, yes, you're right, 9:07. Thank you. All right, we're returning from executive session for the special session school board meeting. We've just spent an hour and a half discussing the qualifications of each of the candidates who interviewed tonight. And I would like to thank everyone who sent in their letter of interest, who took the time to come and interview with us tonight, and appreciate everyone's effort. And I would like to invite all interviewees to stay involved. We have so many committees and so many opportunities to support the district and support our students and our staff and our community. So I do want to invite everyone to please be involved with us and help us as we're going forward with the district. At this point, I'm ready to have a motion, entertain a motion if there's one.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Bill Dane for the open seat in District Number 2.
All right, the motion's been made.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. And we have to do a roll call vote or,
Well, open up for discussion.
oh, yeah, sorry. Can we open for discussion? If there's no discussion, then we do a roll call for this, right?
Yes.
All right, Director Ledoux,
Yay.
Director Kincaid,
Yay.
Director Carey.
Yay.
Yay. The voting is unanimous, and I'd like to congratulate Bill Dane as the newest appointee to the board and welcome you as the Director for District 2. Well, and I'll be calling each of the other interviewees after the meeting today. So the meeting is adjourned at 9:09.